Hey everybody, good evening. It's Mayor Paul here. It is 5:30 on Sunday. As you can see, I'm at our Emergency Operations Center we have set up, and we have a team that's been here this afternoon doing some work. Big thanks to that team. God, we have a great city team, great city leaders, and I'm reminded of that every time I'm in here on the great work they're doing. So couple of questions I'm going to answer for you right now, and I put them in the description of this. Who has jurisdiction to do what? Okay, can the mayor close a business? Can the mayor close a city? Can a mayor pull alcohol licenses of people who aren't obeying his or her recommendations? And there are, thankfully, laws that govern our state and govern our city. And I have in front of me, these are the declarations, and excuse me, the ordinances that deal with disaster declarations in our city. There's really a handful of them that a mayor has the ability to enact. Primarily, I can declare a disaster, okay, which we have already done. And that allows me to call emergency council meetings. That allows us to put ordinances into effect after the first reading. And that allows us to essentially waive competitive bidding practices if we have to get supplies or materials on the quick. That is what that allows me to do. For people to say, hey, can you do an executive order on this? Can you do an executive order on that? You can't just do executive orders on anything you want to as a mayor and protect the city from the legal ramifications of that. And so I hope you understand the constraints that I'm in. Well, then how are some cities, Paul, able to close down businesses, close down restaurants, close down bars? Every city, every state in the country has different laws, okay? My laws that I have to abide by are different than Tulsa, are different than Rapid City, are different than Des Moines. So the way that we prefer to see something like that happen is typically you see it at the gubernatorial level. So there's a lot of statewide edicts or statewide mandates that say, this is what we're recommending from the state. And then municipalities then figure out how to enact that, and so that they're all kind of marching in the same direction on that. What we're looking at doing then is what options do we have on the local level to do that? And so there's the only option that we have to do a more heavy-handed approach with business closures is to recommend that our Board of Health take up that action. And you may not even know that we have a Board of Health in our city. We have a Board of Health. That Board of Health has quite a bit of power based on city ordinance, and the Board of Health can make a recommendation on that that the council can adopt, and the council can enforce and adopt the enforcement measures on it. That's how you would do that in a municipal level. So people want to say, who has the authority? Well, at the state level, there's an authority to make strong recommendations down to government, and at the local level, we have a Board of Health that is ability to do that. The Board of Health can also enact that regulation, okay? So they not only can make the regulation, they can enact that regulation. So that's what our Board of Health does. That's why they exist, and that's what they can do. Because of that, our Board of Health is actually meeting this Tuesday. They probably, as of 3 weeks ago, didn't know they even had this authority. They are meeting to determine if that's an action that they want to take up as a board. They are going to, though, work strongly with the recommendations of the mayor, of our public health director, of our healthcare systems, in determining if that's something they want to enact. Now, I will tell you that I have been talking a lot this whole weekend with the leadership at our two large healthcare systems here in Sioux Falls, and really this entire state, Sanford and Avera. And both Sanford and Avera have expressed their support and their recommendation that is in kind of lockstep with where I'm at, that we are not at a point in Sioux Falls where we need to mandate business closures. And so I want you to know that I don't make this decision on my own. I work with the CMOs of those organizations, the infectious disease doctors, the executive team members, to make sure we're making a sound decision. And collectively, we agree that that's where we're at. They said, however, in the next 2 to 3 days, there will be a lot of data that we will have at our disposal. And all these pending tests are going to kind of start falling really quickly now. And based on that, we will have much better data to make decisions on. Do I realize this decision is not popular with some people? Absolutely. Absolutely. People want heavier-handed action right now. But based on the recommendations of those 2 healthcare organizations and my public health department, as well as what I feel is in the best interest of the city right now, we are not mandating that. Now, let me get on my soapbox for a little bit. That does not mean carte blanche, business as usual for some of you businesses. And there's a couple that, man, I'd love to call out because you actually seem to be monopolizing this panic. Party buses at your facilities. It's embarrassing. You need to take this seriously. You need to realize that it's not just an endangerment to your patrons, it's an endangerment to everybody your patrons comes in contact with, to your servers, to your staff. So you need to enact smart social distancing practices in your business right now. And that's a very heavy, serious request for myself. The other thing, though, that you need to consider is this. Remember that on a local level, your local government, if we enact some sort of mandate that we shut down bars, restaurants, fitness facilities, kind of some of those more entertainment venues, that applies to the Sioux Falls city limits. That does not apply to Harrisburg. That does not apply to Hartford, to Brandon, to pick your community in our MSA. So while there's teeth to that, it still doesn't stop the problem without kind of a broader approach that we can take. And that's where I think we may head eventually. So we can do what we can within the 80 square miles of Sioux Falls, but I could adopt a mandate in Sioux Falls, and I can tell you the T bars will be hopping, and the Harrisburg bars will be hopping. And that's the reality of it. And that's what we're dealing with when we have to do it on a local level. So we're going to be meeting Tuesday. Our Board of Health is going to be meeting. I shouldn't say we, the Board of Health is going to be meeting to determine the next best steps there. So I wanted to just share that. You're all having to learn a civics lesson really quick right now on how city government works. I'm guessing part of this will also create some state law changes that we'll be looking at next session, because a lot of people are learning how all this works on the fly, including myself, and having to figure out what's best for the city, what's best for our business community, what's best for people that are facing evictions, facing financial challenges. There's a massive scope you look at when you make decisions right now on these issues. And I appreciate your support. It may not be popular always, but it's hard. We're doing the best we can with the information we have at our disposal. I'd ask that you support your leaders right now, support your elected officials on the state and the federal level, because they're dealing with unprecedented challenges and they really need support from citizens right now. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for letting me explain a few things. I put a link in this Facebook Live to a press release on this very topic that provides a little bit more information. You can go read it there, and we'll be in touch soon. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye.